Hi everyone. Our subject today is about hypocrites. Yes, hypocrites, and the world is full of them, as we all know. To the ordinary people, a hypocrite is a person who says that he or she cares about the environment, but constantly littering, and a person who pretends to be what he or she is not, specifically one who pretends to be pious, virtuous, etc., without really being so. A liar is considered socially as a bad person. A hypocrite is even worse. Hypocrites generally try to manipulate the truth, conceal an embarrassment, or compensate a weak line of reasoning, while in fact they know the real truth, but fear revealing it may have negative consequences. So they mislead. Thus, they will always to tell the truth. They even forget what the truth is all about, or what is the truth, if ever. So we can define hypocrisy to be the practice of engaging in the same attitude or behavior and activity for which one rejects and criticizes another, or the practice of claiming to have moral standards or belief to which one's own behavior does not conform, being what 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 we don't pretend. This is hypocrisy in general. Like the failure to follow one's own expressed moral rules and principles, which makes the issue turn psychological. Other kinds of hypocritical deception include claims to knowledge that one lacks. He or she knows everything, while actually they know nothing. So, other kind, as I said, of hypocritical deception include claims to knowledge that one lacks, claims to a consistency that one cannot sustain, claims to a loyalty that one does not possess, and claims to an identity that one does not hold. In politics, hypocrisy is the conscious use of a mask to fool the public and gain benefit. Politics is full of lies, and it's about achievements, and to cultivate the reputation to fairness is to really be fair, but since it is much harder to be fair than to seem fair, and since laziness is built deep into human nature, humans more often choose appearance over reality. And to lie becomes tolerable. And humans tend to think highly of themselves, so they always rank themselves above average or even higher. Humans are fairly accurate in their perceptions of others, inaccurate generally in their perception of themselves. Being a hypocrite ranked from morally bad to socially and politically tolerable through centuries and civilization. Jesus condemned the hypocrites in many verses and identified them to be the Pharisees, or the religious leaders. While in Islam, hypocrites are a different category of people. Hypocrisy in Islam is viewed as a serious sickness and particularly identified as those who claim to be believers and peacemakers, thinking they are fooling God and others. The Quran unveils those hypocrites of the first and second kind, which means to be believers or to be peacemakers. Some hypocrites pretend to be either believers or peacemakers. Some others pretend to be both. In all cases, they are liars. They think they are fooling God and Muhammad, the Prophet, and his followers. Islam considers the hypocrites in general as bad as morally as we explained all along. Plus, Prophet Muhammad and make believe to believe in him, in him, and in Allah, then prove and show the contrary. So they make believe to Muhammad that they believe in him, in his message, in Allah, and so on. But whenever the truth, the moment of truth comes, they prove absolutely the contrary. So we're inciting few verses from the Quran here, enough to understand the subject from the Quran point of view, to apply to life and logic, and to know how to deal with hypocrites. A few verses, 6 verses, I believe. I'm gonna read, of course, translated in English. Verse, they explain almost all about hypocrites. Verse number 1 of Surah 63. It says, when the hypocrites come to you, God is talking to Muhammad, addressing Muhammad actually. When the hypocrites come to you and say, they tell you, we bear witness that you are the messenger of Allah. Lying, of course. Allah knows that you are, and Allah bears witness that the hypocrites are liars indeed. So this is black and white. Again, in verse number 142 of Surah 4, it says, verily the hypocrites would beguile Allah, would mock and trick Allah, that is. But Allah beguiles them. When they stand up to prayer, they do with laziness, and to be seen of man, and they do not remember Allah but little. Which means they make believe, They show the man that they are praying, they show the man that they are believer, and so on, but actually they are not. And whenever they come to pray, it's with laziness that they do that. They show how they lack. The third verse, it's verse number 14, number 141 of Surah 4 as well. The verse says, those who wait and watch about you, O Muhammad and believers, if you gain a victory from Allah, they say, were we not with you? So they are watching. They are waiting and watching, actually. Whenever they learned of a victory that you had from Allah, they come close to you and they say, "Hey, give us a share. Weren't we with you?" But if the disbelievers gain a success, and the other way around, if the disbelievers gain a victory or mark the victory or something, they say to them, "Did we not gain mastery over you?" They approach both. They want to have a share from both sides, which means, didn't we advise you? Didn't we all tell you this and that and so on? Did we not protect you from the believers? Which means they wish-washy. They wish-washy some news about the believers to them. Allah will judge between you all on the day of resurrection. So God is telling us those hypocrites, they will have, on the day of judgment, they will have what they deserve. Again, in verse number 143 of this, which says about the hypocrite, that they are swaying between this and that, belonging neither to these nor to that. Like not hesitating in the sense of the real hesitation, but playing around. Sometimes they do this, sometimes they do that, but they're never this, they're never that. Okay? And he whom Allah sends astray, you will not find for him a way. Which means, of their case, playing around, not this, not that, they will keep on being this and that. They will never have the right thing or the right way or the right thing to do. Another verse is number 2 of Surah 63. It says, they have taken their oath for a shield, which means they protect themselves with the word they gave, in the sense, like, being uh, malicious, in the sense. Then they turn man from the way of Allah, which means they say something, they do another. Absolutely the contrary. They turn man from the way of Allah. They solicit man to go astray, to disbelieve. Is that which they have been doing. Absolutely, this is bad in the consensus and judgment living creatures. Finally, the verse number 8 of Surah 63, which says, the Surah says, they say, the hypocrite, they say, surely if we return to Medina, the mightier shall drive out the meaner. But honor belongs to Allah and His messengers and to the believers, but the hypocrites know not. So, in brief, this last verse, it means they kind of hidden menace, threat. They say, oh, when we come back to Medina, the mightier, talking about them and specifying that they are the mightier, we will drive out the meaner, which means we will drive you out, O believers, from Medina. But honor belongs to Allah, and Allah says to to to, to appease the Muhammad and the believers. Don't worry, Allah is, will will make you even look better and so on. You and the believer, messenger. Allah is always behind His messengers and the believers. But the hypocrites know not, which means the hypocrite, they do not realize such things. They go deep in their hypocrisy. And this is their, this is their way. This is how they are all over the world in everything, whether in religion, in social life, in economy, in everything. Okay, so we stop here. Thank you.